from breakthrough strategies to game-changing innovations and cultural shifts. You'll discover the lessons that drive real impact, and we'll dive into the moments that changed everything. Welcome to The Missing Piece with April Reed.
Misty Mattingly has spent over 17 years leading at the intersection of clinical excellence and business performance. She currently serves as the SVP and Chief Dental Hygiene Officer at Sage Dental, where she drives hygiene strategy and supports operations across a growing multi-site organization. A registered dental hygienist turned executive leader, Misty is known for improving patient retention, strengthening team performance, and building systems that deliver real, measurable results. A clinical leadership award winner and an on-DM changemaker, she brings both grit and heart to everything she does, and we're excited to have her with us today. Please welcome me, Misty Mattingly, to the Missing podcast show. Thanks, Misty, for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me on. I'm excited to, be here today and learn more about each other as we go through this.
I know, me as well. I'm really excited to jump into all the things, but for our listeners that have never met you,
Yeah.
introduce yourself. Introduce yourself, who you are, how you got to where you are, and of course, we'll go through more of it. But yeah, please introduce yourself.
So I'm Misty Mattingly, and you've already told a lot about me, so thank you. I was kind of blushing in that. But I am a woman who has always wanted to set forth and leave a legacy in, my profession and what I do. And, early on, I was in foster care growing up. And so, I had to learn how to have that grit. And very early on, had to some experiences in which I had to really have a sense of independence and determination and struggle, and which really kind of navigated where I am today, of, wanting to be a leader and, leading innovation and really trying to make an impact in the world, because I learned really early on that, I only could depend on me. One thing. And I think that, as I've grown in a leader, I think I've also learned that that's not necessarily true, but that was something that was hard for me to learn. But I love where my career has taken me, on this journey, because I've had the ability to work with such amazing people. And I think as a kid, right, like in foster care and stuff, I have a different aspect of the way I look and the way I lead too, right? Because of that. Because it really is like nurture and care for those, really servant leadership. Really, I think that's really key. And I think that's really helped me to be where I am today, and really helped me to get to be the leader that I am and get to be at Sage now, which I love being at Sage. We are the industry leaders in dentistry altogether. I mean, you name it, we were the first to bring AI, teledentistry, all of it,
Wow.
Curodont. So it's just an honor to be there, April.
Wow. Okay. Well, you just unpacked a lot in that intro.
I did.
I'm like, so that was a lot, and I love it. Thank you for sharing that vulnerable piece as far as growing up in the foster system or your experience there as a child. Thank you for sharing that. I think when things do happen to us, even it doesn't have to be as childhood at any time where it's a tough
Absolutely.
time, you
Tough time.
learn this perseverance. There is a mental fortitude. And you attributing it to the success that you've had is you weren't a victim. Instead, you used it to experience triumph and team and leadership and all that, which is absolutely
Yeah.
amazing. What put you on the dental path?
Actually, when I was in foster care at 14 is actually when I got into dentistry. It was something that after school I could do, and it was close by, and so I could go and I went and sterilized instruments. And then that really kind of started to do that. And then I did that all the way throughout high school, and then went off to college for broadcast journalism and communications major. And so that was kind of how that all came about, and then ended up just in college, like a lot of us, we go to college for one thing and we end up doing something different. But I went back to my roots, which was dentistry. And it's a phenomenal career, not been, it is a phenomenal career, and one in which I love to be a part of and still continue to see all the advancements and things that we're going to see in dentistry. And so it's really cool now to
Yeah.
be a leader in this space and really be a
Mhm.
part of, all the transformation that's going to come about.
Yeah, I'm really excited to talk more about the innovation behind Sage. But when you're 14, you're sterilizing dental equipment, which is unbelievable, and like an outlet. And rather than getting into trouble, you actually had a job. And then you went to broadcast journalism. How did you think that you would pursue a career in broadcast journalism, or like what was the conduit again from there to then moving forward
Well,
in
yeah,
dentistry?
I absolutely did. I wanted to be on Entertainment Tonight. Like when you asked me what I
Yes,
wanted to do when I
girl.
grew up, I wanted to be on Entertainment Tonight. That was it. But no, I just had a pivotal change. It was something I really began to see that like smiles can change lives, right? And it was something I really enjoyed. I was something I was really good at in dentistry. The dentist I worked for was very encouraging to me, Dr. Maxwell Ferguson that I worked for at the time. And he was adamant about like me going to dental school and all those type things. And then I loved hygiene. And so I went to hygiene school and I got accepted, and that was it. I never looked back. I was president of my class and, saw the things that hygiene is one of those positions where not a lot of people even realize what our role is. Right.
Wow.
And back then I even noticed that. And so I really wanted to put forth what a hygienist is, the fact that a hygienist can be a business leader also in this space. I wanted to
Mhm.
create that, which I have, and I'm very proud of that for the next generation, right? The next leaders, because there is a space for hygiene at
Yeah.
the C-suite level. Because it's the most profitable aspect of our businesses, and also where we
Mhm.
have that connection with the patient, and I
Yeah.
think we're gonna see a lot of innovation over the next few years.
I agree, and I want to talk a little bit more. You said earlier, so you are now at Sage Dental,
Uh-huh.
and you had mentioned that they are kind of leading the charge in
Oh, yeah.
innovation.
Yes.
Tell me more about that. Tell our audience more about Sage Dental.
Yeah, well, Sage Dental is a DSO, so a dental service organization, and we really are the industry leader when it comes to innovation. And like I said, we brought in Curodont, which is is a biomimetic technology that actually helps grow enamel back. We were the first to bring it here to the US. We were the first to bring dental monitoring and AI. We also have some advancements in implants. We have so many great innovations with AI. And then now we're also working on that next level of how can we create technology that will help drive behavior changes and also impact the flow of the patient as well, right? So really working with that. And so we've been working, I myself have been working with another company, Clarify AI, too, that is doing that as well. And we're looking at that, you know, as how can we implement those things to provide better care for the patients, consistent care, but so we can have that consistent care. So we want to utilize the AI and have the AI so it can help the clinicians chairside with their workflow, help them with
Mhm.
making decisions, but then also allow them the technology to do some of those things so they can concentrate on the
Mhm.
relationship building, right? And
Yeah.
that's where AI is really going to take us is can it do some of those monotonous tasks, right? Those things kind of you check somebody in, those type things. So then we can have our clinicians really handling and taking care of our patients. And that is really where I see technology going is that behavior change,
Mhm.
helping drive that behavior and creating the
Yeah.
space in which we can do that. And that's where, you know, my communication kind of comes back in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So even though I didn't get it, I still use it every day. Um,
Yeah.
in all that I do.
I love it. So, what is your role? I mean, and I love everything that you just said. And it's funny because you've always been a leader, obviously. Like you said, you're like, oh, and I'm, president of this or leading the charge there. You're SVP at Sage. You're part of the innovation of the core. And then I know you even said you even have a podcast too, and it's in the hygiene space and in the dental space. But what is your role as a leader at Sage and that you feel like really makes an impact as a leader there?
I think being first off is being was a visionary, right? Of really setting the vision of and setting forth the path of, my department and what that's going to mean. And that really is that we're healthcare providers, right? And I think
Wow.
that vision creates that culture in which, you're creating a
Mhm.
culture in which you're caring for people. And that's why they came into
Yeah.
this, right? Most clinicians come into these in the healthcare because they care about people. And so creating that vision and a space in which, there's workflows that support that and then help them, I think that's really key.
Okay.
That's really is the thing that's gonna like level us up just in general.
Yeah, I love that. And when you realize that you're there to simply care for patients, it changes everything.
It
You know what I
changes
mean? Everything that you
everything.
do then
Yeah.
is from that place.
And my job is to support the team. Right? Like, that's my job because I have to support the team, and when I support the team, then they can support taking care of the patient, and that's
Mhm.
really what my role is, and that goes from everything from, the intake of the patient to, when we take them to the back, the treatment that is rendered, recommendations that are discussed, all those type things. The clinicians make the determination based upon the patient's need, but, as a DSO, we're creating kind of the pamphlets and the educational materials and all that type stuff, as well as
Mhm.
helping collect, and decide on the various products and things that we would use in treatment as well. That's really kind of where, but all of that are all things that I'm doing to help support the team. So then they don't have to worry about like, is that the best fluoride? We're going to give them the best couple ones as options, and then they get to pick the ones they want to like the best, right? But we want to make
Yeah,
sure that from our standpoint, that everything, really sits at the highest standard because we really do drive excellence, at Sage when it comes to clinical excellence using AI and all those things.
that's awesome. It's really exciting. So I want to talk about Misty again. So
Uh-huh.
one entrepreneur to the next. Um,
Yeah.
rumor on the street is you have some entrepreneurial experience
I
or
do, I
think
do. I
like
podcast, and then now
tell
with
me more.
SmileSip. Oh my god, I love SmileSip. It is the first ever oral health drink in the world. And what's great about it is
Wow.
it can really impact change so much in the world because, every time we eat and drink, we are literally, bathing our teeth with acid. And
Mhm.
SmileSip is pH neutral. You drink it, and it tastes delicious. It's moisturizing. I love the fact when people try it and they're like, "Oh my gosh, my mouth is no longer dry," and it
Wow.
neutralizes the pH. So if you had like coffee, tea, all those type things, it's going to neutralize it. But then also, it's going to freshen your breath in a way that's like not minty either, right? Like I always kind of say, it's for those in between moments. But also like dependent care, April, there's so many things like SmileSip helps every person. And so it's been amazing as I am on my entrepreneurial journey. And I'm learning so much. But
Wow.
what is so exciting about it is the impact that it can really have. Like I know, just like we all know that if we can take care of our teeth, that's how we're going to live longer. This is how we're gonna have
Right.
long, it's gonna because the mouth is the gateway to the rest of, your mouth I mean, to the rest of your body,
Body.
and so often we've treated it separately, and SmileSip does start to really make that connection. And then too, I love the fact it's really founded and really being launched throughout the United States through dental professionals. And so I think that's really to be able to lead that charge and to really make an impact, especially because all the thing that's happened with fluoride, and let's be real, it did make an impact, but it's political now. And I don't want to be part of the
Wow.
politics. I want to do what's right for people, and SmileSip is good and for people. And it's just one a day. And really, that is going to keep the dentist away. And we can really make an impact. And that's what I want. And that is, yeah, I got fired up, April.
I know. So, okay, so tell me, so explain what SmileSip is. You did a little bit, like you were saying, it reduces your pH or whatever. So, what you're saying is you created a drink. I
Mm-hmm.
love it. You said drink one a day, keep the dentist
Yep.
away. Obviously, you want to go to the dentist every 6 months, get your cleaning,
Yeah,
have hygiene,
absolutely.
have
But
hygiene. But
yeah.
the health of your body. I did not know that heart disease is directly related to your teeth. I
Oh,
didn't even know these facts until I was
uh,
older, and I was like, "What did you say?" And I'm
yeah.
sure there's several more,
Oh,
but
there's
what
tons
exactly is
more.
it?
No, I mean, when you talk about oral health and how it's impacted overall health, you're right about cardiovascular disease, diabetes, pancreatic cancer, low birth weight babies, premature
Wow.
babies, you name, oh goodness, erectile dysfunction now, April. That's one that gets the guys lit up. You know, but it's a fact. It all is associated. Alzheimer's, right? They're saying now that the same bacteria in the mouth is what's causing Alzheimer's. So
Mm,
keeping up with your oral health is so important, but we've so kept it separate. And where SmileSip steps in is it has all natural ingredients. So it's folic acid. It's xylitol. Xylitol is what's going to help with the cavity protection. It also helps with salivary flow. So it also helped with that. It's also going to help with the bad breath, like what we're talking about. Also gut health, because oftentimes bad breath is also by the gut as well. And so
wow.
it has grapeseed extract in it, erythritol, um, and folic acid. And so folic acid is going to help with tissue repair, right? And so that also helps with all that. And what all that does is just by drinking one a day or just by drinking this, right, you're actually going to prevent your teeth from getting stains, number one, because I know people like that. We're all about our white smiles. Right? So
Mhm.
it's going to do that. It's going to freshen your breath and improve your gut health. Um, it's going to whiten your teeth. It's going to help with your gut health, and it's going to help with tissue repair and inflammation. There you go. All those things all in one drink. And
Wow.
it is, really amazing for like people who have cancer or if they're in a nursing home, right? Like these nurses don't have a way to be able to clean people's teeth. And they say that the stat is that somebody only goes to the dentist like every 10 years if they're in a nursing home in a facility. With this
Wow.
easy drink, we could really impact their oral health. And that's
Wow.
really huge. We can do the same thing for kids at school. Especially, I was one of those kids, April, right? I was in one of those Title I schools. I was one of those kids. And I
Mm,
was scared of the dentist. And because of the fact I did have cavities growing up. And so it really goes back to that too, of the heart of who I am and being able to, I knew I was one of those kids. And my mom didn't know how to care for my teeth because she was just trying to like make ends meet, right? And like I didn't get to go
right.
to the dentist. But if I could have had SmileSip, I wouldn't probably have the cavities and the fillings that I have had in my lifetime due to it.
Mm,
Right? Because it could have made a difference in my life, especially in my family where we were big Coke drinkers, right? Like I'm still a big Coke drinker today, but Smile Step is something that I can use throughout the day, and then that neutralizes the pH and really gives me an opportunity to improve my oral health and my overall health because
wow.
smiles change lives, right? Like when
Yeah.
I smile at you, there's a connection we have when we smile, and that's
The
really
endorphins that are released and the
yeah.
connection, and it is real. It is, and it's important, and when you're not smiling, it is. It's like holding that back
Mhm.
or the energy back, whatever you wanna call
Yeah.
it. Are there drinks on the market like this? I mean, I've never heard of anything like this before.
No, there's nothing on the market of its kind. The
Wow.
only thing that you would have close to it would be maybe like a xylitol, like gum or something like that, but it's not going to be at a therapeutic dose versus SmileSip is at
Wow.
a therapeutic dose. So there's nothing of its kind. And that's where it's hard to get it through, the market as an entrepreneur. That's where I'm struggling is
Mm.
because it's a new concept. People don't get it. They want to like use it like a mouthwash. I'm like, no, drink it like a fine wine. right? Because you want to savor
Ooh.
it. And so we're doing a couple little things actually at a wine bar because that's also a great thing. Like if before you go out drinking red wine, have a little SmileSip. It'll kind of coat the teeth and kind of create a barrier, and then you won't get like, the wine on your teeth whenever you're drinking red wine, right? It'll repel the stain.
Wow.
And so we've been trying that concept too, but we're just trying out all because there's so many legs to
Wow.
SmileSip. So it's fun, but I'm trying to figure out the exact legs to start really kind of popping first. I think that's where it's at. There's so many legs to it.
Mm.
Mhm.
That's legs like wine. Um,
Exactly.
think about it.
You got it. You
That's
got it.
I'm like, I love it. So I actually had a friend and her teeth were so white, and I was like, "How are your teeth so white?" And she's like, "I have drank through a straw my whole life." And then she also I don't know what she puts on it, but to protect them. And you
Uh-huh.
never hear that. You never hear, "Oh, protect your teeth before you drink red wine." But when you said that, it sounds so silly. We can talk about this because 'cause we're girls, but, like, if you put a serum on your hair before you get in the pool, or you put conditioner on your hair, it protects your hair so
Right.
that the chlorine doesn't ruin your hair. But I never thought about, protecting your mouth and your teeth and everything that goes into your body. So I love it. That's really exciting. I honestly didn't know, I knew you had launched a product, but I didn't understand how powerful and important it is and that everybody needs to try it or at least learn about it. Because like you said, it's an education thing to where, I mean, you're
Mhm.
educating me and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah,
So
it's all
that's really, uh-huh.
educate. No, it's absolutely an education piece that we're working through. So, and I know you too as an entrepreneur. I love picking your brain as well about it.
Yeah, how to take it to market. So, going back to technology, AI, the evolution of healthcare as a whole. I mean, I've been in healthcare since 2004. You've been in it almost as long. Like we've seen it from paper charts all the way to, like we said, AI,
Mhm.
and new technology being released every day. What's your thoughts on the impact that it's making? Like right, wrong, or indifferent, specifically AI, because there's like two there's two polarities right now. People that are saying, I don't want robots to take us over, or they're not going to care about us as patients. And then you also have the flip side where it's saying, look at the data and the analytics and what it can do and how much further and faster we can go. So there's always these like polarizing, things when it comes to
Yeah.
AI and technology. I would love your opinion and your thought leadership around that.
Yeah, I think AI is great. I think that where AI is failing is when it's just data, right? AI should help change behaviors, and it should create a pathway in which the AI makes things better for the humans, not to make it, harder for them and or necessarily take their jobs and so forth, but elevates humans, right? And allows them to really key into, empathy and that relationship building. So the goal I see AI is to give people back time so we can have time with people because I feel like we've lost that as we've grown into a technology model, right? Over, we've gotten so consumed and not as good as having conversations and communicating anymore. And I really hope that with AI is going to give us the ability to not worry about those tasks as much. And instead, we can focus in on building those relationships with the patients, having those conversations that take more time and create more of a
Yeah.
relationship, which is going to be how you're going to build longevity, right? Over your course of your business is creating that retaining people in SmileSip, Sage, anything you do, right? Is creating that repeat customer and getting them to continue to come back. And that comes
Yeah.
from relationships, right? And I
Uh-huh.
really hope to see AI help with that. I think at the beginning we thought about AI as like just as this way to, the people have took it as this way, oh, we can do this and maybe we can cut costs here and do this here. I really don't foresee it being that. I think there's some cost savings in that, but I think then we're going to shift to it's going to be more about relationship building and really soft skills, and
Mhm.
being able to do that to grow our teams to that next level. But I'm excited about
Mhm.
AI. I think there's some lots of consistency in dentistry. We lack consistency. You've heard this. Everybody's heard it. You got 10 different dentists, you get 10 different opinions, right? I think
Wow.
AI is really going to create that continuity and consistency. Um,
Mm.
that we haven't necessarily had. And I think that is going to be really beneficial to patients. And I think that will allow us to focus in on disease prevention versus in dentistry, we've always been focused in when it's broke, then we fix it. And so I think that technology will help us with that because it'll help us catch disease earlier as well. So I'm excited about that. And especially as you begin to see that dental and medicine, they're seeing a lot of correlations more and more.
Yeah.
So I think you'll see some of that integrated too, and maybe more communication, and maybe AI can help in that between the dental providers and the medical providers, right? Maybe it's just even a communication piece because sometimes there's a lag there. But I'm excited about it.
It's so interesting. You know, I'm in the medical space, you're in the dental space, but you were making all these light bulbs go off to where I'm like, there isn't necessarily, and maybe there is, interoperability between the dental practices and the medical professionals. They're not talking and or that continuity of care amongst dentists. Like you said,
Correct.
if you go to the dentist here on this corner and then you decide to move for whatever reason over the dentist on this corner, like other than sending your x-rays and stuff, how do you create that continuity of care for the patient as a whole? And even the impact, yeah, you're kind of blowing my mind, but even the impact on disease prevention when it comes to the dentist, it's almost like starting with the dentist,
Yeah.
even as a young child. I've never bridged the gaps
You
until you
could
started talking. I'm
easily
like,
correlate it and the 2 run, side by side because we're starting to see that in pediatrics, they're doing things like fluoride and they're checking them out. They're starting to, but also because so many people don't go see the dentist, right? And so I think, if you could try and start tying it, it's either it's kind of both. And then sometimes you have it the other way where they only see the dentist and they don't see the healthcare, right? So you kind of,
right.
but if you could add or there was some system in which they did communicate that would help you understand some of the outcomes and create some of the consistency of care, you know?
I love that.
Yeah. So I'm
I love
excited.
that.
I really am because there's lots of innovation still coming about. I,
Oh, very much so, and I feel like it's now faster than ever. It's
oh,
like
it's
we've had
so
these
fast.
ideas and we know these things, but it's, like, finally happening, and I feel the same way. I'm like, "Oh my gosh," like, we're healthcare is finally catching up, and it is generally gonna make an impact. So I call the, podcast The Missing Piece, and, the missing piece can be a missing piece moment in your life that maybe moved the needle or changed everything for you. Or the missing piece could be like something that you still feel is the missing piece that you want to see and solve for like the future. So does anything resonate when I ask you, what's Misty's missing piece or what is the missing piece?
Well, I think, when we started, I talked a little bit about being in foster care, right? And so for me, um, I think, there was a missing piece. And it was one of the things that I learned, when Carolyn McCarthy set me down, she was my house mother, and she set me down and she said I could be anything I wanted to be. And that really impacted me and changed, and that was my missing piece because I always thought that I could only be what my parents were, or I could only be what I had seen, or I could only live in a house of what I had seen. I never thought that I could do, and that was a huge missing piece to me, and one I still hold very dear to my heart is that this is my life and I get to live it and I get to choose and be who I want to be. And so, that's my missing piece is that it gets to be, and you have to that figure that out, is that this is my life. I get to live it. I get to do what I want to do, and I can be anything I want to be. And that is really my missing piece and what I, take away is like, it is our life. So live it, guys. Enjoy it. And, and make an impact in it, make it worth something. And that's really what I try and do every day, and I get to do it through smiles in every
Ugh,
aspect.
I love it. I love it so much. And there's somebody that needed to hear that. There's somebody that needed to hear it that said, you can be anything you want. And there's really nothing stopping us except ourselves,
Except
at the end of the day.
and that was what I learned. That's what she said. It was only me, and it's just you gotta it's put one foot in front of the other, and some days that's really hard to do, and I get that. It is. It's really hard to do, but you just gotta keep at it, and I said this to my son once. I was like, "Sometimes the best way forward is just to keep walking." Right? Like,
Yeah.
just keep walking, because as long as you keep walking, it's gonna get further away from you, and
Mhm.
you get closer to whatever that is that you wanna be, I also learned too, and, Matthew McConaughey says this, I don't know if but he also says, like, he always chased who he wanted to be, and every time he gets there, he's like, "Okay, now I'm here where I want what's my next step?" And I kinda think through that. That's kinda what I mean by that too, is just keep walking forward, and that is it. That's life, my friend. Enjoy it.
I love it. I love it. If people want to find you, reach out to you, how can they best contact you? Would LinkedIn be ideal, or how
Yeah,
can they reach
LinkedIn would
out?
be ideal, the best way to reach me.
Okay,
You can absolutely reach me on
perfect.
LinkedIn, or you can hit me up on my Insta too, which is Misty Angel 72. Or of course, I have a podcast too called Hygiene Happy Hour. So if you're interested in something like that, you can always reach out to me in that manner as well. And so check us out. And that is just hygienehappyhour.com.
Yay, and we'll include all of that as well, but
Yeah.
thank you for being here. Thank you for your story and the inspiration that it is and your leadership. I'm really excited to kind of watch you, grow. I'm excited about Sage and everything that Sage is doing, and,
Oh,
yeah, it's just an honor, and Sip and Smile, is just
smile sip, girl,
amazing.
smile
I mean,
sip.
Smile Sip.
I do like Sip and Smile. I tell you what, so many people get that wrong. I was like, should we have named it Sip and Smile? Because
Regardless, it's a good name.
smile sip. Smile
Smile
sip,
Sip, Sip
sip
and
and
Smile, same
smile. That's what we
thing.
should say. Smile sip, sip and smile. There you go.
Exactly, exactly.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you for
thank
being
you.
here. You're the best.
Oh, same to you.
Thank you.
Every leader has a story, and every story reveals another piece of the bigger picture. What if the missing piece wasn't something you had to find, but something you were meant to become? Subscribe, share, and keep leading with intention. I'm April Reed, and I'll see you in the next conversation on The Missing Piece.